Hey, it's Dave back with Blockbuster Underground. Doing a quick rundown of the first two episodes of Daredevil Born Again. The series just dropped on Disney Plus what was it, Tuesday night. I managed to check both episodes out over the course of Wednesday. Needed a little bit of time to kind of process my thoughts and see what's what. But let's get cracking here. We're going to do a little bit of spoilers because obviously we got to. It's going to be a 9 episode season, from what they're saying. They are currently shooting season 2 as we speak. I'm not sure about the details for that. I've heard a whole bunch of rumors as to what the storyline's going to be, but we're not going to get into that. Let's just cover a quick synopsis of what happened in the first 2 episodes. It's a bit of a slow burn. Not a lot action-wise happens in the first 2 eps. The beginning of episode 1 is absolutely bananas. First 15 minutes. And the ending of episode 2 really tees things up for moving forward, which I cannot wait for. Um, as I said, it's a bit of a slow burn. Obviously, new series, new season. You got to get all the players, the pieces of chess pieces on the table. We get introduced to Karen, Foggy, and Matt leaving work, going to Josie's bar at the beginning of season 1, hanging out with basically it's like the cop bar from the Netflix show. They do lean a lot on the Netflix show tonally wise. I heard one person say this was like a photocopy of the Netflix series. Um, I somewhat agree with that. I somewhat don't. They did do a full run of season 1, and then during the writer's strike, sat down and decided, hey, this isn't working, and retooled the entire first season. The opening episode apparently was the most refixed. I heard in the previous season he didn't even suit up until like episode 8. Hopefully that's not going to be the case with this season. But so series season opens with them at the bar having a good time, having a couple of drinks, and then Foggy finds out one of his witnesses is in danger, and it turns out it's Bullseye is after the guy. Bullseye, who we last saw, Wilson Bethel, who played the Poindexter in season 3 of the Netflix show, is back. As we saw, spoilers for the last season of the Netflix show, Kingpin broke his spine and then he got a surgically replaced spine. There's rumors it's made of some cogium metal or could be adamantium at this point after Brave New World. But so Bullseye shows up and R.I.P. Foggy, he gets gunned down. It's kind of a cool way they do it too, because as there's been clips of this in the trailers, there's been clips of this online of the fight in the hallway, which is almost a one shot, not quite on the degree of the Netflix show with the hallway fight in season 1 or the stairway fight in season 2. Not bad. The CGI when Daredevil is swinging around, rappelling through the city, is dodgy as fuck. But luckily, it's all done in really dark tones, so you can't really see it. But I mean, if that's the big downfall, that's what I heard from a lot of the early reviews for the show from the critics who got access to the first couple episodes, in some cases the entire season early. They said the CGI is a little dodgy, but I can deal with that if we're talking about Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio tearing up the screen acting wise, because I'll get to it in a second. There's a doozy scene in season 1, in episode 1, with the two of them. So yeah, Foggy gets gunned down. Matt goes after Bullseye. Big fight. Da, 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 da. You saw it in the trailer where Bullseye's like throwing knives at him, and Matt's got like 7 knives stuck in his chest like a fucking pincushion. Fight winds up on the rooftop, and as they're doing the fight, Matt's super hearing is kind of tuning in to see what's going on with Foggy because Karen's down on the street with Foggy waiting for the paramedics to arrive. And Matt can hear Foggy's heart beating, or still beating for now, as he's fighting Bullseye. They get to the rooftop, and all of a sudden, Foggy's heart just stops. And Matt just screams at the heavens. He's like, why? Why? And fucking Bullseye, what a piece of shit. Good actor, but he just laughs at him. And Matt just goes, fuck you, and throws him off the side of the building 4 stories up. Splat! Onto the ground about 4 feet from Karen. And Karen Foggy's just died, and Karen now thinks, oh, fuck, was that Matt just hit the ground behind me? And he's dead too? She finally turns around and sees it's not him, and she's like just hysterical. And that's where the season opens. He pulls the mask off. One of the cops from the bar spots him, and he's like, Matt? And we get the opening credits for the season, and then the title card finishes off, comes up, it goes 1 year later. So it's been a year since Foggy died. Matt's now in a new law firm with this girl that they all knew. Karen's moved off to San Francisco and left New York altogether. Kingpin is now the mayor of New York City, which was, it's weird how they did that. They kind of like pushed it through, and like within like 2 or 3 minutes of the opening of the season, he's announcing I'm going to run for mayor, and then all of a sudden he's mayor, and it goes along a storyline that was actually in the books, which is good. But so Matt, being Matt, doesn't believe anything that Fisk says, so he goes down and sees him. He's like, "Can we have a chat?" So this is the scene they showed a brief bit of in the diner, reminiscent of Heat with Pacino and De Niro. The diner scene there, where the two of them are just sitting there and they're basically laying their cards out on the table, and Fisk is like, "Well, why did you stop being a vigilante?" And Matt's like, "Well, my best friend got killed, a line was crossed, and I felt like I didn't have the privilege anymore to do it." I guess the line being crossed was that he tried to kill Bullseye. Unfortunately, it didn't work because Bullseye is still alive. That's part of the opening of this season two. Is we go to the courtroom and we see him get Bullseye gets sentenced to life in prison without parole. So Matt and Karen have a quick chat, and she's like mentions that she's moved to San Francisco. She's happier there. Matt's like, can we go get a coffee and talk? She's like, no, I don't want to do that. So it's kind of a fractured situation that Matt's in. He's all by himself, basically. Hasn't been Daredevil for over a year, following the death of Foggy. So winds up, he goes to meet with Fisk, and they have this long chat. And Daredevil, Matt's basically like, I feel like you're gaming the system. Like, this is bullshit. You can't just turn aside all of your evil doings, and now you're going to be an upstanding mayor for the city? Come on, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. He's like, you tried to kill me a few times, and Kingpin's like, well, you tried to kill me too. And he's like, incarcerate, maybe. Kill? No. Not my style. Basically, the conversation ends up with, Kingpin's like, when I'm mayor, I'm not going to put up with people running around in silly costumes. And if you pick up any of the antics that you were up to before, there's going to be consequences. And Matt's like, at the same time, he's like, well, you stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. If you fuck up, though, I'm going to be there. And Kingpin's like, well, who's saying that? Is it Matt Murdock, the lawyer, or the other guy? And it's a great, great scene, though. The two of them together are just fantastic. The first episode pretty much winds up with the Kingpin. Fisk gets named mayor, and Vanessa comes out to see him. She's still in the picture, and she's like, to be honest, I've been seeing this guy on the side while you were away, because remember Echo shot him in the face, so he had to go off. I don't know where he went to get healed up, and so Vanessa's cheating on Fisk, and she's like, please don't kill the guy. And he's like, I promise I won't. I was like, right. I've got a feeling that within the next few episodes, this guy that Vanessa's seeing is going to get utterly destroyed. So that's the first episode down. Second episode called Optics. And it's basically Kingpin's trying to find a way to gain favor, because his staff is like, a lot of people in the city, especially the cops and everything like that, they fucking hate your ass. And, you've got to make it so that you've got a lot more popularity. So he's trying to whip up ways to do it. He goes to see the police commissioner, who's planning to retire. There's a scene beginning of this episode too where Hector Aiello is actually he's White Tiger. He's not White Tiger in this scene, however, but he comes down into the subway and breaks up a fight. These two guys are trying to like shake down this kid. He gets into a fight with the two guys. One of them winds up falling off the subway platform in front of an oncoming car, oncoming train and gets splattered. The other guy suddenly stands up and goes, "Freeze, NYPD." It's like, what the fuck? So this guy gets arrested. They find out that he's White Tiger. The cop from episode 1 that's found out that Matt is Daredevil is now working kind of with Matt at his law firm, as like a liaison, sort of running investigations and background checks and stuff. So he finds out that this guy's White Tiger and tells Matt. So Matt goes to confront him. Matt's like basically tells the guy, "I'm going to take up your case," and he's like, "I can't afford you." He's like, "Don't worry about it." Finds out that he's the White Tiger. Goes to the judge and he's like, "Yeah, we can't. None of this can be admissible into evidence because A, he wasn't wearing his magical medallion, and how Charlie Cox managed to say that with a straight face, like his magical pendant or whatever. He's got a necklace that basically gives him superpowers and healing factors and all that sort of stuff when he wears it. And Matt's like, he wasn't wearing his White Tiger costume either, so we can't pin him on that. Pin him on this for being White Tiger. This is just him trying to do what he thought was the right thing, and it went horribly wrong. So, police commissioner Fisk goes to the funeral of the cop that died and runs into the police commissioner. And the police commissioner's like, "You're just a piece of shit. You know, you're a whiny fucking kid who just is filled with rage and hates everybody, and you're trying to mask it being the mayor because you think you can erase the monster that you actually are." And he's like, "Catch you later, Kingpin." So Fisk being Fisk, we always knew from the start that he wasn't going to go completely straight. He winds up. The police commissioner comes into his office and he's like, "Here's my resignation letter. Go fuck yourself." And Fisk is like, "Yo, before you leave, you're from Philadelphia, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Cheesesteaks in Philly, they're really great. There's one restaurant though that's really a really great place called D'Angelo's in Western Prussia." And he lifts up the wrapping for the cheesesteak that he's eating, and underneath the wrapper is a picture of what ends up being a secret love child the commissioner's got. And Fisk is like, there's always compromise to be made. Raises for the police department, zero. Overtime benefits for the police department, zero. The new training academy you wanted, yeah, that's not going to happen. So do we have a deal? And the commissioner's like, "Okay, I'll stay for now, but be careful what you wish for." So Matt, in the meantime, is sleuthing around, trying to find evidence that will help Hector not go to prison for the rest of his life and then some. He finds a lead on one of the cops that was on the platform that ended up arresting Hector. So he follows him using his super hearing, follows the footsteps of the guy going back to his apartment, stakes it out, and then overhears the phone call with another cop saying, "Hey, we found the kid that was on the platform that ran for it. He's at this address. Let's go. I'll meet you there, and we'll take care of this." Meaning, we'll take care of this. So Matt races to the apartment, gets there before them somehow. I mean, whatever, it's Daredevil. Calls his cop friend, and he's like, "Hey, man, meet this guy at the park here." He goes into the apartment. He's like, "Look, these guys are coming to kill you. You're the only witness I've got to testify to save this guy's life from going to prison for the rest of his existence." The guy panics. He's like, "I can't go against the cops. I can't go against the cops." So he's like, "Get down the fire escape. Meet this guy in the park here, and he'll get you to safety." Cops come in. Matt's just standing there with his glasses on and his cane, and they're like, "Where is he?" He's like, "Oh, well, the guy who was saved by Hector on the platform, he's not here anymore." The cop goes to walk past him and just body checks him and stops him. Grabs Matt, throws him up against the wall, and he's like, "Where's the guy?" And Matt's like, "I'm visually impaired. Like, I'm not sure what help I'm going to be here." Next thing you know, the cops just lay a beating on Matt, fucking whipping his ass. Finally, he takes a shot to the head, and this drop of blood falls out of his mouth, and it's like, "Oh no, you guys have done it now." One cop turns to the other one. He goes, "Okay, finish him off." And he's like, "He's a fucking lawyer. Like, what?" One of the cops has a Punisher tattoo on his wrist, which is probably going to factor into why Frank Castle comes back, because there was a run in the comics where cops were walking around with the Punisher logo on their gear, and Castle took it way personal. Like you can't, no, just no. So I've got a feeling he's going to show up and start breaking some heads sooner rather than later. Obviously, Matt can't see the tattoo, but so they lay a beat down on him, literally have a gun to his head, and Matt's sitting there going, "Please don't do this. Please don't do this." And he finally snaps. The devil comes out, and he fucks these guys up hard. Like you see it in the trailer, the arm break ricochets one guy's head off the fucking dining room table. The other guy slams into the fridge with a blood stain on the freezer, and then flips him. And I'm not sure. Necks aren't supposed to turn that much. I think he killed both these guys. Because if he didn't, then what the fuck? But yeah, he just beats the fuck out of these two dudes, and then puts his glasses back on. He's just, you know, freaking out, and then he lets out this primal scream, and episode ends. So I'm guessing it's not going to be too far from now when he puts the suit back on and starts really cracking some heads. Did I enjoy the episodes? Yes, I did. Did I find them a little slow? Yes. Arguably, that's expected, with it being the first two episodes of a new season. Like I said, you got to put the pieces in place. Matt's actually got a girlfriend this time. The lawyer he works with set him up with this therapist who he hit it off with, and they're having a good time. The therapist ends up, end of episode 2, doing couples counseling for Fisk and Vanessa, which is got to go badly one way or another. I mean, this poor guy Murdock, he just doesn't seem to be able to cut a break. But did I enjoy it? Yes. It does feel very much in tone with the Netflix side of things. However, being Disney, I'm surprised they let this much go with the violence level. Like Foggy getting killed in the first episode, all you hear is the thwip of the bullet, and then a spray of blood just covers Karen's face. It's like, whoa! And him throwing Bullseye off the roof. I was like, holy shit! And then obviously the end scene where he beats the fuck out of those two cops. D'Onofrio in an interview actually said that there is something he does that his character does later on in the season that he was absolutely positive they were not going to let be on camera, but they did. I'm guessing it's got to do with Vanessa's boyfriend, because I guarantee you he's going to fuck this guy up. Huge. And in the trailer, there was a quick couple of clips of Fisk just beating the fuck out of some dude, and I'm guessing that's going to be him. But I'm excited for where this is going. I've loved the Netflix show. I actually was more excited for this, still am, more excited for this than Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four combined. Um, Captain America Brave New World, like my review said, was okay. Felt like kind of a stitched together gargoyle of a movie where they were kind of smushing 3 movies into one and trying to compress it down to get the 2-hour runtime so they can get the screens and all the rest. Go back and check that review if you want to. Overall score for this so far, I'd give it about a 7.5 out of 10. Obviously, we still have 7 episodes to go, so I'm not about to give like my final verdict on the overall show. But based on what I've seen so far, I'm intrigued. I will continue to watch this happily, not like the Acolyte where it was like, oh, another fucking episode. But yeah, Charlie Cox, D'Onofrio, absolutely fucking fantastic in both of their roles in this show. They didn't supersize Kingpin. If you guys remember Hawkeye, they used camera angles and set tricks to make him look like comic book Kingpin. In this one, they don't. He's big. D'Onofrio's a big guy. Don't get me wrong, but he's not like ridiculously big. They actually make a mention of this when Matt and him meet in the diner and they're talking, and Matt's like, "Oh, you're a little bit lighter in your step. You've lost some weight, you gained some more muscle. You must be eating better." And so yeah, doesn't mean you still can't just fucking like the scene with the commissioner in the graveyard when the commissioner's just ripping into him saying you're a spoiled brat, a child, and da 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 da. was it Struggle Nation? Yeah. They said that in previous seasons, if anyone had talked to Kingpin like that, they would have had their head cracked open against his tombstone. But I mean, Kingpin's trying to put on a facade that he cares about New York City. Like, there's one scene in the beginning where he's like, "I love New York," and it's like this forced smile on his face, like, and you can tell it's complete bullshit. And as Matt said, I just feel like you're gaming the system, which he is, but we'll figure out how much so probably sooner than later. But yeah, every Tuesday this is on. It's got a weird release schedule. The 11th and 18th are one episode each. 25th of March is going to be two episodes, 5 and 6. And then 7, 8, and 9 will wrap up on subsequent weeks. I'm pretty sure they're trying to get this out before Andor starts because they don't want to cannibalize their viewership. But really enjoying it so far. Curious to see where it's going to go. Happy it's back. Happy they got the same cast and they didn't do a complete retool. The violence levels are good. Um, whenever I watch something and I actually go ooh like that, that's when you can tell the violence is well done. It's not just gratuitous for the sake of being gratuitous, but overall the cast is really good. The action is good. The CGI, little dodgy, but whatever. This is more street level than anything else, so it's not like we've got like Thor showing up. Spider-Man does get a name drop, sort of. In one of the speeches that Kingpin gives, he's like, "I'm tired of vigilantes in New York City. A man running around dressed like a spider, another psychopath gunning people down with a skull on his chest, and someone running around with horns on their head." So definitely they're definitely name dropping some characters so far. White Tiger being in this is kind of cool. The actor who plays White Tiger apparently, unfortunately, died from cancer late 2023. He had already finished shooting all of the footage he was due to shoot, so his role wasn't affected by the reshoots in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of sad though. But in the comic books, it's the daughter of Hector who is now the current White Tiger. So whether they're going to go with that storyline moving forward after this season is done or what, I'm not sure. I've heard one rumor that season 2 is going to be Matt gets outed as Daredevil and thrown in prison, which was also a run of the comic. I think Bendis did a run of the comics where Matt was in prison for being a vigilante, and the prisoners were obviously like, "Let's kill this fucker." Not sure if that's going to be the case or not, but that is one theory or rumor I have heard kicking around on the interwebs. So yeah, I mean, if you liked the Netflix series, forget about what happened in She-Hulk and Echo. Echo is barely mentioned in this. When they're in the diner, Fisk was like, "Do you have kids?" Matt's like, "No, do you have kids?" He goes, "No, I've tried to mentor one once, but it didn't work out." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I heard she shot you in the face." So that's as much as Echo is mentioned. She-Hulk is not mentioned at all. Probably for the better, because I mean, obviously the red and the yellow suit was one of his original ones in the comics. It didn't translate well on the screen, and you could tell a lot of the stuff in She-Hulk was complete CGI. Um, but like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic that this is going to be a really good show, and I will gladly keep watching it until the finale, and keep looking back every week for reviews on the episodes. I was thinking of doing a reaction to the show itself, but trying to get the split screen set up and the risk of a copyright slam from Disney for showing too much footage, I figured I'm just going to keep it like I've been doing it since the get-go, with just a recap like I've been doing of the episodes on a weekly basis. So in the meantime, subscribe, 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 subscribe. Trying to hit 150 subs by summer. I mean, yeah, it's not going well. But yeah, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel. Tune in next week, probably on the 12th of March, for a recap of episode 3. And we will catch you on the next video.